G'day, my name's EB-Knispel and I'm coming back to Battlefield 4. Now, first of all, I would like to apologise. It did take me a while to get around to making this video, and first of the reason was I had to focus on an issue I had at the gym where I actually suffered a small injury to one of my ligaments in my elbow, and so I was having to deal with that, so I was trying to troubleshoot how I could best get around my injury and still train, but long story short, it was better for me to just take a little bit of time off. Second of all, just as I was recovering from that, I actually got extremely sick with the flu. And don't worry, it wasn't actually COVID. I eventually got tested about a day after I started feeling some kind of the symptoms. So I took some extended time off, and hopefully this means my voice is back to normal again so I can keep up with the quality of the videos I like to put out for you guys. Oh, and also I managed to raise almost just shy of $3,000 for Mental Health Month at work as well with the Black Dog Institute. So I was spending a lot of hours at work trying to grind my hardest to raise for the charity, which I actually did better than what I did at the start of this year when I went to do a charity fundraise for the Smith family for children to school, which was basically just trying to bring up the quality of education, trying to help fund students to get into school and have an equal opportunity of learning as everyone else does. So, enough of my excuses, and let's get just straight into the video. As per usual, I'll be keeping this very brief, as well as basically on the shoot with some keynotes. I wrote it down. And before you ask, yes, I will be getting around to posting a lot of my BF5 video footage, which I still have stored up for over the last year or more. So there will be a lot of BF5 content coming out as well, but also at the same time, since BF4 is what I'm actually playing at the moment, I'll be posting out some content for that as well. So why am I back? Well, as we already just briefly brought up with Battlefield 5, one of the things I had with an issue with Battlefield 5 was that in fact the game had such little anti-cheat programs going on whatsoever. Pretty much every game I played on a DICE server was just full of hackers, so it was just more better to play community run servers. But the problem was, in Australia, community servers, if you've already followed people such as Spy, Silk2G, Shady, you'll already know that the Australian community is quite biased against decent players, so we get excluded and we're barred to having to play these DICE servers which have basically no anti-cheat, or having to play it overseas where we already have a ping disadvantage. It got to the point where I was having to hop from server to server just to find a server which didn't have any hackers, and I was relegated to playing a few maps to keep away from the hackers as well. And the only way you could most of the time avoid hackers was playing on vehicle-based maps where you're in a tank, but it just didn't feel the same. You've always felt robbed of a win every single time because you knew on the other team there was always a hacker. And when I mean a hacker, I mean very blatantly obvious. You go to the battle report and you'll see it at 90% headshot ratio with every single gun that they have. So I just got tired of playing Battlefield 5, and pretty much everything I wanted to achieve in Battlefield 5 I managed to at least do, with only a few minor goals never happening, such as competitive in large formats. We did manage to get to play around small formats, but that's not where my passion is. If anyone has ever followed me, 10s, 12s, even 32s is where I'm at. Not to exclude, I don't think Battlefield has a place for small formats. This is actually the reason why I love Battlefield. Everyone's opinion of Battlefield is from their own perspective, and there's just so many ways you can actually play the game, and I think that's what it's the strength of this game is the fact when you talk especially about competitive, there's not one format that works. There's several formats that works, and I honestly think that's what makes Battlefield interesting for me. I had some events planned with some of the communities in our region from Asia and Oceania for Battlefield 5, but unfortunately they fell through, which I will not name the communities that I was involved in, which fell short of my expectations. But I did enjoy the time that I spent with them, and I got to meet some incredible people along the way. So that I will never regret, and I honestly don't think that's time I've wasted whatsoever. And so we bring up the point that we know that Battlefield 6 is modern, so why start now, returning back to the game I spent so many hours on Well, it's pretty simple. It's based in a modern setting, so that pretty much answers that question. So it seems kind of like a bit of a waste of time to keep sticking with Battlefield 5 and grinding out with all those issues already. And even though I do find aspects of Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 4 having both strengths and weaknesses, at the end of the day there's some very key concepts that carry over between the games, even though despite each of the game being very unique in its own way, which some people enjoyed or hated. But honestly, I think most of the players that did well between the two games were able to transfer those key skills over across between the games. Another reason why I have come back to Battlefield 4 is the possibility of working with our level GG, and hopefully, if everything goes to plan, a 12v12 event in our region of Oceania and Asia. So hopefully, if anyone's watching this and you're an ex-competitive player, or you think you're good enough to make the cut, or you just want to give it a go and see what it's like, I'm all for growth in the community. So it'll be fantastic to see some more fresh new teams as well as old teams turn up for this. This will be, in my opinion, an amazing experience. I also find it very rewarding coming back to Battlefield 4. None of these issues that I have in Battlefield 5 have come to follow me here. I find a lot of the community servers are run by extremely decent admins, which are not very biased to the end, don't hold themselves to just their own opinion of other players. It seems there's a bit more community and consensus, which makes it more logical sense. Also, having things such as Procon to run servers makes a huge strength in running community servers as well, allowing to have multiple admins, custom tools, as well as actually setting up private servers as well for your special needs, such as running competitive or just community events. I also miss things like the straw, TV, and very dynamic and unique vehicles such as the attack boat, attack chopper, little bird, IFEs, and MBTs. Because the hours you can put into them, you will always still find little new things to learn, or ways to approach the map and how to counter the metas. I always find this game is always evolving over and over again, or metas keep changing, which I find fantastic, and it keeps it engaging. I also find a lot of the maps are much more replayable in Battlefield 4 than compared to Battlefield 5. Yeah, sure, I do think there's some aspects about BF4 maps that get overkilled. Like, I think a fair few of the maps could extremely be better if they just reduce the vehicle count by like 25%, 30%, just so it becomes a little bit more or less spammy. I also hope to come back with some new Battlefield 4 videos, from montages to simply me talking about my gameplay, maybe even talking about some of the things I've learnt, or some of the new tactics I have, as well as old ones. I might be even bringing up some competitive stuff that I have stored away from on my hard drive from recent in the last year, which is another reason why I come back to Battlefield 4. Comp in Battlefield 4 never die. It's purely because the tools were there from day one to allow competitive to even exist in the first place, which highlights my next point. If competitive is going to exist in the next Battlefield title, there needs to be community servers with the tools available to run it in the first place, and I mean early on. Less than the first 3 months of game release are critical for a competitive community to thrive for the whole lifespan of the game, especially when most of the games have their peak general interest in that time. So what I mean by that is the largest player count actually playing the game for its lifespan. So hopefully, with all these things and goals I've got coming for coming back to Battlefield 4 I hope this expands the community as well, expand my own channel. I also would like to propose some ideas as well. Would you guys actually like me to be posting more than just Battlefield content? And what I mean by more than Battlefield content, if you already follow me on Twitter, I actually am a bit of a gym junkie and I'm actually studying to become an exercise sports scientist. If there's anything in those regards you would like to see come up on my channel outside of just gaming, please leave it down in opinions in the comment section below, and I would gladly start actually making some videos and post them up on here. Because I think one thing that makes people great gamers is having the rest of your life balance, from your actual diet, sleep, exercise, and also you constantly challenging your mind to learn. Anyway, I'll let this video keep rolling in the background, and I hope you enjoyed this video and my little bit of a on the spot rant, and I'll be posting up some more content soon. I hope you don't mind the rusty gameplay in the background. This is actually one of my first games coming back to Battlefield 4 as well. As you can see, I like to use seat switching a fair bit, and towards the end of the game I have someone that's actually pretty decent at gunning the gunner seat as well, which makes a huge difference. Anyway, not to repeat myself, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave some comments and some feedback, and as always, stay classy and see you on the battlefield.